Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today at Shutter 16 Magazine. We appreciate it.
Of course. I'm honored. Thank you.
I wanted to start off by talking about your last album, Gifts from the Holy Ghost, because you were quoted as saying the album had to be made. It was like you were on a mission. So I thought maybe you could tell us a little bit about your kind of personal journey making the album and kind of what was the driving force behind it.
Yeah, I felt like it was a very different approach than any other time I've made a record because I was I was like changing management, and then they were kind of hands off and just letting me do what I wanted to do. And no one was really selected to produce it yet. It was just more about collecting songs and writing songs with people. So I spent, and we did a lot of it during, a lockdown.
Right.
So for me, that was really good. Otherwise, I probably would have gone insane. It was good for me to be in the studio and writing and creative and creating music with my friends and people that I really look up to. So um, I was kind of bouncing around to different friends of mine, different studios. Keith Wallen, Trevor Lukather, Scott Stevens. I went to Vegas and hung out with Jason Hook. We wrote A Beautiful Life. And so I was like kind of running around collecting songs. And then, sorry, my alarm's going off. And then I went to Brooklyn for several weeks to start producing the record. Um, and then and then later Chris Lord Alge got involved and I had him executive produce everything and add a bunch of cool stuff. It was it felt like I was alone, but I was surrounded by people that were collaborative with me, whereas in the past it felt like whoever was producing the record was really steering the ship and taking control over the project, and then I was giving my input. This was more like, I'm going to choose to go write with so and so, and I got more involved with the songwriting because I felt like I wasn't competing with anyone I wasn't butting heads or competing for songwriting, for power, for presence on the project. It was like, this really is my project. So I'm going to go write these songs. And I wanted them to be inspiring. I wanted them to have, substance. And I hope I did that. And because there's some lyrics that really stand out to me that are like gems, I feel like when people hear them, it's going to resonate with someone that might be, suicidal or something, where they hear that thing like, you are more than enough, don't change. I thought that was a really honest, hits you right in your heart.
It
I feel
does.
like like Gen Z needs to hear that, and all the kids and young adults and teenagers that are kind of growing up in a very weird, almost dystopian world where it's weird, and
Yeah.
everyone's lonely. So I wanted them to not feel lonely, and I wanted to write things that were helping them, inspiring them.
And I think we all need that positivity and that uplifting feel after the last few years and everything that the whole world has gone through in, so many different ways. Everything's so different. And it's obviously a personal, effort on your part and a very personal album, but it's also general enough that, it applies to each of us and, all of our kind of everyday lives and our own personal experiences, which is what I thought was one of the best things about the record, because it wasn't just your story, but it was kind of everybody's story.
Yeah, I hope it was very relatable. There was fun tongue-in-cheek songs that were just rock and roll, and then there's the stuff that I feel like maybe collectively the subjects the subject matter was, on some level, it really touched on what everyone's going through and dealing with, even though everyone's very different and their experiences are so different. But, I think we all just want love and peace. Uh, you know, at the core of the human being's soul, I think that's what they want.
I think so too. And I think music is the one thing that kind of is a common denominator and can bring all of that together for everybody in different ways.
Totally. Yeah.
And,
It's
you've got so many other things that were going on, but you had the tour because you were out with Dirty Honey on the California Dreamin' tour, and you were doing, when you were out touring, this killer cover of the Eurythmics song "Sweet Dreams," and you released, the live version of that prior to the band being, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So were you always a fan of the band? And was like Annie Lennox a kind of an
Oh,
inspiration to you as a vocalist?
oh, huge. Yeah. Annie Lennox has one of the most amazing voices. I think she's so unique and powerful. So yeah, and that happened on accident. We were just messing around in the rehearsal room and somehow like my bass player started playing something that sounded like that. So I started singing it and it was kind of a moment. We were like, okay, this is easy. Everyone knows it. We should cover the song and put it in our set. And then I found out that they were going to be inducted, which was super cool. So we didn't even plan that. It just kind of lined up.
Neat, neat. It's like a haunting version that you do live too. I really love it. It's very different from the original, but yeah, it's still kind of true to the whole feel of the song. It's great. And you've
Yeah.
got
Thank you.
a new video out, their latest video for Black Sheep, and that kind of brings into another aspect of your life outside of the music, which is the boxing. So I wanted to ask what first got you into that, and how has that sport kind of been beneficial to you in not only just your overall mindset, but specifically, musically?
I love it. I feel like it's so hard. I do the Muay Thai MMA training as well. I have to get back into it since the holidays. I've sort of been away from it, and I realize like that's really a good place for me to be mentally because it's so hard on your body. It's so physical and so hard that if you can mentally get through that and do it, then you're doing something that is really building character and strength. So for me, wanting to feel strong and grounded, and also I love it that it's a skill. Like, hobbies are great. I prefer to do things that are going to give me a skill that might be useful.
Sure. What was the video shoot kind of like for that? Because it was in an actual boxing gym, and kind of how was it to combine, the sport and what you're doing with that as well as with the music?
I love that video so much. I felt like that was very unique and genuine to me, um, because I do it in real life. And so we shot it at this boxing gym in LA. And when the director, Nick Peterson, sent me a screenshot of the gym, I saw the ring and I just knew, I was like, that's the location. We're going to shoot there. It's going to be really cool. And so the scene in the actual ring, there was like sunlight, like a beam of sunlight that was coming in through like a hole in the ceiling. And I kind of felt like Wonder Woman a little bit in there. So for me, it was just something really powerful. And, it's not every day you see a girl boxing. I thought that that was cool.
That's
And
true. And,
I
and
hope
and rock and roll too. So you've got it all in there.
yeah, it's pretty badass. I hope my fans, I hope it piques their interest and they decide to try, a different physical activity like that to get them, motivated and out of the house and off of social media and kind of, in their
Absolutely.
body. Yeah.
Now, you're currently the only female that's on the charts for active rock radio top 15, which is crazy, but not really, because if you think of it, it's just such a male dominated industry. So I wanted to ask, what advice would you give to other female artists that are just kind of starting out?
You know, this is just me. I don't think about things like gender or skin color. I get asked that question a lot. I don't look at it being a bad thing that I'm a female or a setback. I feel like it's, you want to be a unicorn. You want to be different and unique, right?
Right?
I think that's what gives you strength and power and makes it special. And so, but I would love it if more more girls would pick up, a guitar or like start a band. I think it's cool. Like I really looked up to, Gwen Stefani and, and all the powerful female vocalists. I looked up to them. And I mean, it's crazy that I'm we're going to be in the top 10 soon here. I bet. I have a good feeling about it. So, it's cool. It feels good.
Now, you spent a lot of time out on the road. Like we had talked about the California Dreaming Tour, but you had solo dates and you had festival dates. What part of your live set would you say sets you apart from everyone else? And what is your favorite thing about performing?
You know, I think my band is really great. We don't use any tracks. We don't use any, there's no fluffiness. There's not really a whole lot of production. Like you're getting a rock and roll band that's playing live. I don't think there's anything wrong with, additional tracks and production and things like that, but it's pretty raw when we just kind of plug in and go play, and there's four of us, and really all I have is a little fog machine action and a fan, and um so there is a lot of focus and pressure on me to deliver vocally and be enigmatic as a front woman and be powerful and enchanting and whatever all those things are as a front woman. Sorry, my alarm keeps going off. But I feel like I don't know what sets us apart, but I really try to go to a different place. Like I almost leave my body. I become something else when I'm there, and it's kind of like it can be a spiritual experience. Like I feel like when things break open and break loose, there's just this love with the crowd and like love in the air, and it's just awesome. I have had people tell me like, wow, like I had almost a spiritual experience at your show. That's not from me. I don't know. That's got to be from God, because we're just the musicians. We're just there to kind of, I guess, not distract people, but just entertain them, help them heal through music, give them some joy, some excitement, and before they go back to their lives. So it's,
Absolutely. It's something that you have to experience, and everybody's going to feel differently about it and react differently. And it's just an awesome thing to be a part of, I would think.
yeah, yeah. And I think what sets us apart is it's pretty personal. It gets pretty personal, and really engaged with fans, and there's a really good connection.
Awesome. Are you working on any new music right now?
Oh yeah. Just finished my first song with Scott Stevens, and it's already like it's like the sister track to Rest in Peace. It's so good. It's a little heavier, it's a little faster. And I want to put it out now, but I think I think we still have maybe one more radio song on the record. And then maybe we'll put it out after as we're writing the next record, just to kind of keep it going.
Nice, nice. Well, we'll look forward to hearing that. And I just wanted to ask you, as a musician and an artist, what's the one thing about your music that's the most important to you?
I honestly, I feel like the most important thing to me is, here's the thing. We're not like a religious band or anything, we're just
Right.
rock and roll. But I am spiritual. I love God, and I have a great relationship, and I believe in God. And so for me, it's important that some aspect of the music turns people towards that and gives them hope, or, helps them in their journey and points that way for them. So that's important. And it doesn't happen in every song. Like sometimes it can literally just be one part of a song on a whole album, you
Sure.
know? And those things happen spontaneously, especially the lyrics. It's I feel like I'm not, I feel like I'm channeling or something, because it's coming to me out of who knows what. But, sometimes you'll get a lyric that's really special, and you know, yeah, that just, that makes you aware that there's more, I think, than just, your little life that you're so everyone's so stressed out and consumed in their own stuff, but there's a greater purpose, I think.
Fantastic, fantastic. I want to thank you again so much for taking the time to talk with us and fill us in on everything that you've got going on. And we're definitely looking forward to hearing that new song when it drops, and hopefully getting to see you guys out on the road again. It was a
Oh yeah.
fantastic show, and I saw you on the California Dreamin' Tour. And before that, I had only seen you on a few festival dates, which were, fantastic too. But it's a festival, and you've got a limited slot there,
Yeah.
to play for. So hopefully we'll get to see a lot more of Dorothy and your whole band in 2023.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.